Come and see.
My neighbour Ken was so jealous when he saw our new solar panels.
The trouble is, sometimes life just feels completely meaningless. You get up, you do the same old shit over and over again, and you ask yourself, what's the point? Why am I doing this? To what end am I doing anything? And then you ask people, and people will say, well, the thing with meaning and finding a meaningful life is, well, that's not something you can go out and just get. You know, you have to decide yourself what you're going to find meaningful. You've got to just choose your own meaning in life. And I'm thinking, well, how can you choose what you find meaningful? So some people say, well, no problem. You know, I decide that, you know, for me, God is going to be meaningful, or I've decided that my family is going to be my source of meaning, or I've decided that my career is going to be something that I'm going to derive meaning from. And that's that. It's just not an issue for some people. But if you don't feel as though your life is meaningful and you're trying to find it, you know, and you're told that you choose it, it's like, well, that for me just doesn't make sense. I can't just choose meaning. It's almost like it feels like that sentence doesn't even make sense to me. So if you know, I can't just wake up in the morning and think, you know what, I'm going to decide today that I'm going to derive meaning from spending time with cats, and I'm going to go out there, I'm going to get hold of 10 cats, and the more time I spend with cats, the more meaningful my life is going to be. Or I'm going to decide that riding a bike is meaningful, so I'm going to go out there, I'm going to get a bike, and then I'm going to ride the bike. The more that I ride the bike, the more meaningful my life will become. Basically, I can't just pick some weird arbitrary, it doesn't have to be weird, but any arbitrary thing in life and ascribe it meaning. You know, I can't just, for me, decide I'm going to believe X today, or I'm going to find meaning from Y today. It just doesn't seem to work like that. And the trouble is, just definitionally, if you're making a choice to believe in something arbitrarily, then how can something that's arbitrary have any meaning? Because just you feel like something that has meaning has to have significance over other things. But if the source of meaning could effectively be anything, or it almost doesn't really matter, or there's no consensus, there's no overarching structure that we're all in agreement with that this thing is meaningful, you know, like I can't just decide that, you know, getting up early is a meaningful pursuit, going to bed late is a meaningful pursuit. I can't just think that spending my time hedonistically is meaningful, or helping others in the world is meaningful. I mean, these are all somewhat sort of subjective moral judgments, and perhaps ultimately meaning does just come from your own weird biases and subjective feelings. But again, if that's true, it just doesn't feel meaningful. It just feels too insignificant to be meaningful. You can't just, it feels like you shouldn't just be plopped onto this planet, experience a load of stuff, develop opinions, thoughts and feelings about this stuff, and then there you go, there's your meaning. It does feel as though, sort of in my mind at least, definitionally, meaning needs to come from somewhere outside. It needs to be something that moves you, something that's significant, something that drives you forward more than anything else. And it almost needs to be somewhat spiritual, or have some kind of higher plane dimension to it. Like I say, it can't just be, you know, just something that I've decided to pick. Now, some people do find this. It seems that some people, you know, could just sit there, I don't know, making origami birds and spend a whole day just folding paper, and they would derive meaning from that. They'd get into the zone, a flow state, or they'd just enjoy making the birds, and that in of itself, it's its own reward, it's its own source of meaning, and that is how they want to spend their days. But I can't do that. I can't decide that, oh, I want to do origami today and I want that origami to provide a source of meaning. For me, I'm looking for something that isn't by choice, but equally isn't just something that landed in my lap, because either way, it just feels too random. For me to arbitrarily pick a source of meaning and to sort of follow that thing, I just feel it feels like too weak of an argument to find something meaningful. Because like if I am just looking around the room and thinking, right, that thing that will do, that will be the most meaningful thing that there is, it's like, well, I'm just pretending, I'm making it up as I go. And you can't live a life deriving sort of like a significance or like a hierarchy of significance in things just by choosing it. But equally, if it, like I say, lands in your lap, if it comes from just the person you are or personal experience, it also seems like, well, how is that meaningful? That could have been anything. If I existed in another timeline or in a different set of circumstances, or if I was a different person, or I probably wouldn't find that same thing meaningful. I guess really it's just wherever you're at any point in time, you have to just follow your subjective biases and try and just look at where you're at and find or try and pursue the goal that at least feels the most meaningful at the time. And maybe there isn't this big overarching sense of drive that you're going to get from something meaningful. You're not going to get this big overwhelming sense of satisfaction from following the path, whatever the path is. Perhaps it's just do the thing that feels the best or the most right, whatever that means at the time. But yeah, on this whole idea of meaning, let me know what you think. I'm just interested to know how you find the source of meaning in life. Like, is there a way to do that? Is there a good way to do that? Have you sat around and thought about it? Have you thought about what is meaningful to you and why you're pursuing it? And then if so, how? Like, what conclusions did you come to? I'm just curious. So anyway, I'm going to leave it here. Thanks for listening, and hope to see you again in a future video.